Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 490. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what is going on?
And someone left some kind of ginger goat into the recording studio here by the name of Connor.
We left the barn door open.
Hey, it was cold outside. What do you want me to say?
Yes. So Connor will be here for the annual episode, which we're recording in a couple of days' time. If you have not voted on the voting for that, make sure you go find the voting form. It was in the description of last week's episode. It's on the Discord, it's on the Patreon, it's on the YouTube page. All those places you can find the link. But we're recording that on Monday, and Connor will be here for that. But he's also here for this.
Yeah, it's weird. I have time off from work.
Just the dynamic has not changed, and that tickles me.
Well, what are we talking about, Matt? What sort of dynamic are you referring to here?
You're just like, and Connor's here. Anyways.
Same as always.
Yep, I love it.
It's the energy I want to bring into the universe, okay? So this is a DC Comics podcast. We get together, we talk about the books we read this week. Coming up on today's show, we have DC KO issue 3, Action Comics 1094, Green Lantern Corps issue 12, Batman and Robin 29, Wonder Woman Black and Gold 2026 special issue 1, and then for Patreon's pick, which was the vote, you guys decided to make me and Matt read Joker versus Red Hood issue 1, so we'll be talking about that. I tried to talk Connor into reading it as well, but I don't think he was having it.
I gave you a pretty clear caveat of like it depended on the football result earlier because that would impact my mood. I was like, if we win against our rivals and we go clear at the points at the top of the table, I'm not ruining my mood with that. If we lose, then yeah, sure, I'm already going to be in an awful mood, so why not? But we won, so.
What happened then? What was it?
Yeah, we won, so I didn't read it because I was not rude at that. I've been celebrating for like 3 hours.
If my team beat our rivals in a game that means something, not even a Batman or not even a Red Hood versus Joker could bring me down, Connor.
I'm not risking it. We've been on a rough run of form recently. It's not been hot, so to come back, statement win, local rivals. Oh yeah, feels good.
Yes, I'll tell you
Plus,
what,
my best friend is a fan of the said local rival, so it's extra nice to rub it into him.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I didn't miss about Connor being here is sports talk happening in the opening section, so that can piss off into the sun.
Hold up, Pete. Have you been watching much hockey?
No, he's not.
A bit. They've started airing a little bit on terrestrial TV over here, which is
look at that.
Interesting.
Cool.
They're out of programming. So they can't fill all their time slots, so they have to turn to sports that they would never show otherwise. I don't think
that has ever happened.
It's happening. Everyone's feeling it. Rough times out there. Also for Patreon, I'll be looking at Gideon Falls issue 9. I believe I did this week. Whatever the next one was, I think it was issue 9 though. That's the problem with reading a collection. I don't really pay attention to the issue numbers. I just read the next one and hope for the best. But yeah, that's what's coming up on today's show. There's a little bit of news as well, but yeah. So how was your week, Matt?
You know, it's fun watching the descent into madness. It really feels like apocalypse has landed here in the good old US and A. So, you know, just trying to turtle my head down as much as possible. Because as you know, sometimes I go looking for trouble. And I'm not looking for trouble. Yeah, I'm trying not to. So, you know.
I get it. Yeah, we won't delve into that too much, but I think we're all feeling the constant barrage of news as of the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I suppose I should ask Connor how his week was, shouldn't I? That seems fair. It seems like the thing to do.
Does seem fair. I mean, it's been nice. I've not been at work. I'm enjoying it.
I never asked you, Connor. Shut up.
Yeah, well, I just took the initiative. Because otherwise you wouldn't.
It really tells us where we are as a society as a whole, that we look forward to not working. You know? Just
sure.
Yeah, it was weird because I had this semi-enforced period of like time off that I got now, and it's kind of nice.
He was suspended for something nefarious. I'll let everyone speculate to what that nefarious
I was
what
gonna
the thing
make
was.
I was gonna make a special sauce joke.
That,
but
I
don't
think that would
that's
be
nice.
fully enforced, not semi-enforced. I had an option to work. I chose not to.
Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, I've been busy this week. Me, Connor's been off, so we've been recording we did like 6 Star Trek episodes this week. So
Good lord.
Oh yeah, we are banked.
out the ass right now. So mostly just busy, and that's about it. But you know, it's cold, it's miserable. I think I'm going back to the movie theater this coming week for the first time in the year. Admittedly, not for something that I'm not excited about, but you know, that's what it is.
You're gonna go to a bone temple.
I'm going to the Bone Temple.
Cool.
I keep looking at it and like, I want to go to the cinema. I've not been in a while. I got time off, and then it's just nothing I want to see there.
Ewa, wills it. Connor, go and watch the new Avatar. You'll have a new
I watched
crush.
the last Avatar.
You go watch Varang. You'll be into
Spending
her.
6 hours of my week watching 2 Avatar movies.
Do you know how Pete tried to sell me on going to go see the new Avatar? He goes, "Oh, there's the villain. You'd really like the villain. She's your type."
She is this type.
Is she a redhead?
And you know what I'm sad about? It almost worked. I went, Varang?
Tall lady, not a redhead. I like them if you have redheads.
Yeah.
You know, they've weaned that horrible gene out of their system. Probably 2 of them, but there's like red
Survival
like,
of the
face
fittest
paint and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's all about the fire and all that, and the ash, of course, fire and the ash.
Yes.
is
Obviously,
the
yes.
Oh,
forget the
man.
ash.
But yeah. So there's a smaller vampire movie that got released, and there's a couple guys from a podcast I listen to that have small roles, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go with my brother to go see it. It's called like Night Patrol, and I got all excited. It's showing. It's in theaters, except for here. It's the one theater that is literally the furthest from me. It would take me almost as long to get there as the runtime. So we'll not be seeing Night Patrol. At least not in the theater. Until it gets a wider release, hopefully. So yeah, nothing else for me to see. I'm not going to a bone temple. So.
When you keep phrasing it as going to the Bone Temple, it has really weirdly different connotations than just going to see a zombie movie.
Yeah, but
That's why I'm saying it. Yeah, this is why I'm saying it, Pete.
Go to the Bone Temple. Like, what, is it
Take a trip to the Bone Temple.
Is this like a museum for like the best erections in human history? Like, I don't know what it is.
It's definitely in Bruges.
Yeah, actually, there is one. There is a
museum.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw a documentary, and it's about a guy who wants to get his entered into the museum after he passes.
I've been there. Yeah. They have a lot of good museums in Bruges, to be fair.
When you say you've been there, you've been to the museum, or you've been there and you've tried to get your dick into the dick museum?
No, I've been to the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to that one. They have a French fry museum. They got a lot of fun museums there.
Well, it is in Belgium, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a chocolate museum.
Mm-hmm.
Are those next door? That's a weird, like...
They're all pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Belgium are weird things. You know, they got...
Is this news to anyone?
Dick museums that give us Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, you know...
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say, really, but...
It's a very nice place, for the record.
I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure I have nothing against Belgium, except maybe I'm giving them
French
some side eye for the Dick Museum. I do, like there's enough obsession with the phallic stuff in the world without building a museum to it. But
it was a fun novelty museum. Like, you know, why not?
What is it? Just like walking past like rows of dildos? Is that what it's like?
No, it's like all different like animals and stuff. Like.
Oh, okay.
It's like loads of stuff like that.
All right, so it's just there's like one human section and then.
And you got like a big whale dick, stuff like that.
Oh, how big was the whale dick?
Pretty big. Like, I don't think that's a surprise, right?
Yeah, but like, are we talking like the span of a room, or are we talking?
No, but like big.
Okay, all right.
Like, yeah.
All right, like bigger than a human being?
No, I'm part with you.
The full size of a human, not like a human's dick. Obviously, it's bigger than a human's dick.
Well, maybe it's bigger than yours.
Oh boy! Hot start. Let Let me just say, that museum's missing out on doing a co-branding with the Bone Temple. I'm just saying.
Hey, how do we know it's not?
They should rename it. That should be their nickname, the Bone Temple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get into things, shall we? Kindle rankings, formerly known as the ComiXology Top 10. Just looking to see what the books are ranked as of right now on the Kindle store. You know what? I guess I'll ask Carter, since he's not usually here. Carter, what do you think number one is?
I'm just reloading the page to see what actually came out.
That's right. I didn't have it up either.
Obviously, I know the DC books. I have no idea what else anyone else put out. To be honest, it might just be DC KO.
It is DC KO. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Took every brain cell and he's puny little
I didn't know
names
if Marvel had a big. I didn't know if Marvel had a big book out this week, because that could potentially have been, if they had a hot new number one.
I never know what their big books are anymore. They take me as surprise, and there's some stuff when we're going through this where I'll see like a number one like down at the ninth spot, and I'm like, oh, that didn't do very well. But yeah, KO is number one, and number two is Ultimates, number three is Avengers, number four is Uncanny X-Men. This is a complete flip of last week where DC completely dominated the top 10. Marvel's running wild here. Number five is Dungeons of Doom, which is also Marvel.
What the hell is Dungeons of Doom?
Well, it was a faction in WCW.
I was about to make that joke. I was about to make the Dungeon of Doom joke. Kevin Sullivan and his stupid face paint.
There's no Hulkamaniacs in here.
This is why I get for mentioning sports earlier, isn't it?
That's what he said when he got down to hell.
Number six is Beneath the Trees, where it's a long title. I'll just say Beneath the Trees. Number seven is Action Comics. Number eight is Aquaman. 9 is Null, which is another Marvel book. And then
it's the God of Symbiotes.
And then number 10 is Batman and Robin. So a few more DC books in there. In fact, Wonder Woman Black and Gold just missed out at 11. Green Lantern Corps at 12. So yeah, I mean, most of the DC books are there, like in or around the top 10. But yeah, obviously a lot less DC books.
It's not
this week.
particularly exciting week for either company. Like with big books, is it really?
No, I mean, obviously KO is a big book, but otherwise,
but after that, I think like it's a pretty big step up. Like Ultimates is, I think, a pretty exciting book in general, but it's issue 20. It's like it's not fresh anymore.
Yeah, Supergirl's down at 16, and then I don't see any other DC books going down at number 30.
Do we think like Aquaman was higher than it would have been if it wasn't a tie-in?
And number 8, I don't know. I feel like it maybe gets to about there usually, depending on what else is out.
That's fair.
I don't know. I think Titans
having
did
read
get
the first part of that, having read the one that was a tie-in to Fight Month, if it was that quality, then they're getting taken.
Yeah, I don't know. I got halfway through the first one of those fight issues. It might have been Aquaman actually, and I was like, Joe, what? Nope.
I will give it credit for being as different because I believe it's the only one where the hero of the book, not the hero, but the main character of the book goes 2-0.
Yeah, every other one is like best. Well, they're all best out of 3, but that's the only one, as far as we know, that went 2-0. Like they didn't get like 1-1 each, and then someone came out on top in the third round.
Yep.
Who was the chump in that? Was it Hawkman that got chumped out in that book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is hilarious for when we talk about KO3.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, don't you worry. Yeah, not the most exciting rankings this week, but hey, it is what it is. We do have a little bit of news, actually. Now, there's no solicits yet. I thought there would be, because there was some news coming out of stuff that will be in the solicits this week, but it seems like we're waiting until next week. But at least I've got 3 new books here that have been announced. If there's any more, you guys can fill in. But we have a Firestorm book, Fury of Firestorm, coming in April. And this is Jeff Lemire writing with Raphael De La Torre on the art. So it's a promising team.
Yeah, so earlier in the week, I had messaged Pete when I'd seen like this name. There's like a name list, and then some of the titles that were up for part of this next level thing. And I asked Pete, I said, do you remember De La Torre or Lemire in this first run of things? And we couldn't remember, and we're like, oh, well, hopefully excited. And then when it was revealed to be Firestorm, I was a little bit disappointed. Not that it won't be great, right? but it was just like,
That might
man.
not be. I mean, Lemire's GSA has not exactly been setting the world on fire.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think Lemire does better with solo characters as opposed to team books. At least in my experience, I don't think there's been a team book that he's done.
Well, at DC, because the one Wrench had thrown at that is Black Hammer.
Yeah, but okay, all of his stuff for hire, like because he's done some. He did a couple of X-Men team books as well, I think, for Marvel. They were all very mediocre. As obviously this JSA run, his Justice League run back during the New 52. Like, I don't know. I've never found a team book that he's done outside of his own IPs that have been worth reading.
Yeah, well, there you go. So yeah, we're getting a Firestorm book, and we're also getting a Zatanna book with was it Jamal Campbell both writing and doing the art.
Yeah, it's just a continuation really from the mini, isn't it?
Yeah. Keeping that flag alive.
But given that I didn't like that mini and noped out of it after one issue, it's not exactly filling me with that much excitement.
Yep, same. I want to enjoy it as a Zatanna book, but I think Campbell's art's fine. I don't read much as a writer, unfortunately.
I just didn't like the premise of that book, because that was the one where they just started getting into like paintings that led to other worlds like immediately, and there was like it just sped run into this super fantastical stuff, and I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Maybe others will enjoy it. And then the other one that got kind of announced this week is Kevin Smith's doing a Bizarro Year None book.
Yes, please.
I don't know. The thought of reading a Bizarro book is like the most grating thing in the world to me.
I know, but I've enjoyed, I think, all of Kevin Smith's DC work to varying degrees. So
the last thing I read of his was Batman Widening Gyre, and that was so undone by delays and whatnot.
Yes, but I went back and revisited it as a whole once it was finished, and it's not like his strongest work. It's not like amazing, but it's good enough, or at least it was from memory.
Yeah. I like Bizarro, but Bizarro is one of these characters that I feel needs to be in a niche, and I don't know if Kevin Smith can necessarily hit that. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. But
yeah, so he's writing this with Eric Carrasco as well, and then the art's by Nick Pitara. So, yeah, honestly, like, I mean, Fury of Firestorm might be good. I have to admit, though, this little trio of announcements is about as uninteresting to me as a trio of announcements for DC books could probably be.
I just, knowing what we've known with Latour from, or De La Tour from Penguin, popping up on Firestorm has me interested, because that Penguin book was such a seedy noir kind of heist thing. Doing something as sci-fi as Firestorm, it's quite a twist. So at least there's that going for it. But yeah, the rest of it, I was like, oh man, Lemire Firestorm. Oh. So
yeah, that one's got the most potential, at least for me personally. Whereas, like, I mean, the four issue Kevin Smith like Bizarro book is like, I don't even know if I want to try it. We'll probably put it in like the Patreon vote at least, and let them decide if they want us to do the first issue. But like, I wouldn't otherwise be even touching that book.
Depends if it comes down a quiet week or not, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there you go. That was the news that I found. I don't know, was there any more that I missed?
Not really. A couple of delays, but nothing major. Like the odd book here or there.
Yeah, that's fine then. Guys, is that all the new stuff that's going to be in the solicits? The solicits are going to be kind of dull next week if there's no other surprises to be had.
But there's a few other like interesting books coming up. So like,
yeah, I guess I just hope there'd be at least one exciting next level book that was, because Rucka doing Batwoman in March is like, hey, that's the big headliner of the solicits.
That's a big one
with Danny on art too, right? So like,
very
boom,
exciting,
boom.
Yeah.
That's the main event.
I feel like there was something else in March as well that had me interested. But
there was a Lobo, there was a Deathstroke.
I think it was the Deathstroke. The Lobo one.
Yeah. Lobo. I know G. Domenico is doing the Deathstroke book, but do you remember who's writing it? Because I remember.
Off the top of my head.
I remember talking about that. But yeah. So there's still the Shadows of the Bat. They keep. That's the one that we haven't heard anything about yet.
I mean, there's a few that we haven't heard anything
for.
about. There was a whole list in the initial reveal that's not been in solicits yet. So that's just one of them that we've not gotten to yet.
Maybe we will get another one in April, and they'll just drop in the solicits.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, there's a whole week till then. I mean, maybe they'll do another special announcement during the week to ramp up to it. But so yeah, I mean, I don't know what the rest of the time frame was for all those other next level books. I don't know if it was like, you know, starting in March up till like June or something, or if it was like open ended till it could be literally September before we get the final one. But regardless, that's where we are. So yeah, and I don't mean to sound too much of a downer. It just so happens that these characters they're announcing books for aren't exactly appealing to me. Like, it's good that they're trying some of these characters. It's good that they're doing a diverse range of books. It just so happens that the ones that they're doing right now are mostly ones that make me go, eh.
And also, like, if they had spectacular teams on them, it might be a bit different. But they're mostly teams that are like, okay, these are fine, but they're not someone that draws you to it if it's not a great character to begin with.
Yeah. So there you go. That is the news, and we can therefore get into the comics of the week. DC KO issue 3, Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson writing, with Xermánico and Javier Fernández on the art. So we came back after Fight Month. We didn't have an issue of KO last month. Instead, we had 8 issues, either single one-shots or parts of ongoing series that were fight issues. After 2 of them, I completely noped out and said I'm not reading any more of these, barring the 3rd one, which I had to read for this week, which we'll get to near the end of the show.
And would you guess I read them all?
Yes, Matt read them all. You left one out. You left the one out that you were then forced to read after the fact. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
Let's say not a lot of them made a big imprint on me. I will say, having gone through all of them now, I would say that the Harley and Zatanna one is probably the most clever and took advantage of the concept. Probably the best. But yeah, there's a lot of heroes versus heroes type stuff.
I kind of suspected none of it would matter that much, and sure enough, a couple of pages into this, there's like just a page of like, here's all the winners and here are all the grayed out ones of the losers. I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know. That's it.
That has me covered. Thank you.
Yep, that's all I needed. Which is not to say that I necessarily love this KO issue. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I don't think it wowed me or anything, though. I was kind of like over the like heroes fighting each other, to be honest, by this issue.
I feel that about the event in general. Like, it's fine. It's very gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
But like, this issue just really sums that up. Like, okay.
I do like that it's not just like a hero versus hero. There is different levels, and they are keeping us on our toes, although they are just making it up as they go as well. You know,
my problem though, Matt, is that it's just like more fights for fight's sake, when really like, I don't know, it feels you know, I think the word gimmick is perfect for this event because it is just one big gimmick and everything fits into the gimmick, but it's the type of gimmick that feels a bit more forced to me than, say, I don't know, like, okay, we're going to do the gimmick where this entire comic issue is one long scene. To me, that is technically a gimmick on like a sort of storytelling level, but it's not a gimmick that feels forced in the narrative, because the narrative can still unfold naturally within that gimmick.
Right.
This is a gimmick where, no, everything about the Heart of Apocalypse wanting a new champion, so we're going to have a tournament, and heroes that would never kill are going to kill each other to get to the like, everything about it is just forced into a lane.
And then on top of that, it feels like, especially in this issue, it's just excuses to go like, hey, remember this thing from DC history? And then like, even the reveal, they couldn't even stick to the surprise gimmick reveal and had to twist that up like 2 pages later.
So there are things in this book that early on I went, oh, hell yeah, this is, I like this is for me. And then I got to what I think Connor's talking about and almost threw my iPad. Well, and then I got to the deeper reveal. Within that reveal, I went, oh, come on.
All right. So here's the overview of this issue, right? Other than some ideas that they all get a fantasy of what their world that they could make looks like, and we see Superman wake up from it. The gimmick of this issue is that the 8 remaining competitors are forced to pick a partner, not from each other. They're supposed to pick a partner either from someone who has already lost in the tournament. Well, that's actually most of them, except Joker, because Joker's done the best so far, so he gets a special treat. He's allowed to pick.
He has the most Omega energy, because obviously he does.
But here's my thing with that, right? So they said, except for one of you who have, you know, and I hadn't read the Joker versus Red Hood. So when I got to Joker versus Red Hood, I'm expecting something different. And that issue was just a fight issue. Still, there wasn't like no tell of more Omega energy. And to me, who's been reading all of these, again, mind you, I've read them all. Superman getting in the last one, right? He got the Omega sanction. Technically, doesn't he have more Omega energy?
I mean,
probably, but plot reasons.
Yeah.
That's just getting into like fans, like sort of like, you know, who has the most power level bullshit. Honestly, this is just a hand wave thing away to just say he's the most chaotic, so therefore he technically has the most like apocalypse energy in him. Therefore, he gets the special treat, which he gets to pick a partner from anyone ever on any plane of existence. So we see them all pick their partners, right? And they're sort of debating who do we pick. They're looking up at statues of the fallen people in the tournament. And we get the various pairings. Now, one of the interesting ones that stuck out to me early on was that Lex picked Supergirl. And I had the immediate thought, I'm like, wait a minute, when they pick someone here, are they just like an avatar of that person, or are they actually that person? Because I feel like the real Supergirl might have something to say about fighting alongside Lex Luthor and helping him win. So they do address that. Immediately, as soon as their fight starts, she turns to him and says, I'm not working with you, you bald prick, and just smashes him.
And Aquaman goes, it's 3-on-1, which I thought that was a good thing. I had a lot of fun with that one.
That was a funny moment. It was well done.
Yep.
That said, though, some of these other choices that are made, for example, Aquaman picks Hawkman. He picks the one he beat 2-0 in his one-on-one fight last time.
It's the bros.
Yeah. Well, no, but they jobbed Hawkman out just to give him a glorious return. You know,
it's very
like the
Hawkman, though, isn't it?
But he's picked a loser. Like he picked someone who's not won a fight. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But hasn't everyone? Everyone's picked a loser.
Well, no.
But in his fight where there was like a best 2 out of 3, Hawkman's the only person who didn't win a single round.
Okay, yes, but I mean, some of these didn't even make it to that round, right?
Oh, true.
Yeah, but I just like, of all the people for Aquaman to pick, right? Of all the other heroes, you know, he picks the guy that he went up against, and again, they jobbed him out in the last round to make them tag team partners.
What I'm trying to say here, it feels like a pity pick. It's like, okay, I feel bad for humiliating him. I'm going to pick him to make him feel good about himself. That's what this feels like to me.
And then the other one that really annoyed me was Zatanna and Constantine, because I was like, again, Zatanna could have picked someone else, but of course she goes with the old tried and true.
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of those where it's kind of okay because it makes sense because they've got a history here, but you feel like she would have picked someone a bit more physical, right? To pair with her.
Counter. Kind of like Superman did with Shazam.
Yeah. Guy picking Hal is just kind of a boring choice. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not that exciting.
No.
And then I think that Wonder Woman picking Bard is probably the other more inspired one. Like, I actually quite like that choice that she made. But you know, the other ones aren't that exciting to me all in. Like Cyborg picking Connor Hawk. Like, I mean, I'm like,
no, do you know what? No, I'm not having this. That whole thing where Cyborg's like, I picked you so I could copy your fighting because you're like the best fighter. I'm like, no, he's not. like if you wanted that logic, pick, I don't know, like one of the other like top tier fighters in the DCU.
Yeah, I know Cassandra Cain, for example, springs to mind.
And why couldn't you just suddenly just copy their fighting style perfectly?
Yeah, also he infects Connor Hawk with nanobots, so he has the extra power from Cyborg. And even with that though, even you having Connor Hawk's fighting skills, Cyborg, and him having your extra, like, I don't know, Cyborg strength or whatever, you're fighting Wonder Woman and Big Barda. You two chumps are going down. You two are going down harder than any pair of characters have ever went down before.
This was, and again, I hate to keep bringing up pro wrestling, but this is very pro wrestling. Cyborg and Connor Hawk were the team that's already in the ring. And they don't even get an entrance.
The jobbers, the jobbers.
And, you know, and Barda and Wonder Woman get the big 6-minute entrance with fireworks. And you're just like, well, I know how this is going.
Yes.
But yeah, seeing Diana pick Barda, who, you know, the last year, Barda's really become one of my favorite characters. I was like, okay, cool. We get more Barda in this, because I thought she was taken out a bit too quickly at the beginning. And they get a real fun tag team moment too. So I got to fist pump there.
Yeah, but having said that though, once it just gets into the fights though, and we're just jumping from like these tag team matches to tag team match, I was just kind of bored. Like most of it was just like, oh, we're just still doing fights. Like none of this means anything, really.
Yeah.
So that bummed me out. And then obviously the big thing we've not talked about yet is the Joker has a mystery partner. We don't know who his partner is yet. And then when we get to the big reveal, he's like, who can I pick that matches my, my laughter, my joy of the joke? And it looks like he picks the Batman Who Laughs. So we get 2 pages of him, and then it's like, no, it's not really him. It's actually Mxyzptlk. And he also turns Joker. Yeah, turns Joker into Emperor Joker. Yeah.
Which I just
Womp womp.
I don't get the point of this. Like, why do the reveal of the Batman Who Laughs other than just to have 2 pages of Batman Who Laughs there? Like, right? It's so
to
pointless.
make me throw my iPad, Connor.
Yeah.
So I have to buy a new one.
Well, keep in mind, Snyder created that character. He's writing this book, so.
Yep. I went from Big Dumb Smile because of Barda and Diana to Batman Who Laughs. And and then I was like, oh, Mxyzptlk, come on. I was low-key expecting Batman, right? Because they made a big deal about it can be anybody, right? And then I'm thinking, well, Night Fight's going on, so maybe that's the reason why Night Fight exists. And then it ends with this moment where Batman by the end ends up getting picked by Joker, and now he has to team up with him. And what does that mean? Because he can't have Joker win. You know what I mean? So, like, how's this gonna go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd have been maybe a little too similar to the Supergirl Lex thing, at least to begin with. Obviously, that changes once Lex doses her with black, red, and other kryptonite that he's all merged together.
Synthetic party kryptonite is what that was.
So she turns into a big rage monster, which lets Lex win. But like, I don't know, like Batman Who Laughs, I get the logic of picking Batman Who Laughs. Obviously, it turns out not to actually be him, which obviously defeats that logic.
I think that annoys me more. Like, I don't like it, but I can understand Joker picking Batman Who Laughs, right? There's a twisted logic to that. The fact that they just 2 pages later they go, Joe Art wasn't actually him. Just forget about that. There was no reason to do those 2 pages.
Who would have been
anything?
I mean, admittedly, let's just pretend that we care about this tag team thing and picking a partner in the first place. Who is an interesting partner for Joker to pick? Like, who would actually be an interesting choice?
I don't know. Joker doesn't play well with others, right? So it's not like he has like a friendship with the other Bat Rogues.
That's why I think like a different version of Joker is fine. Right?
Probably makes the most sense. I'm like, just pick Homelander or something. I don't know.
Like they could have picked play with like the 3 Jokers sort of thing, like picked a different Joker from like that.
Oh yeah, just picked another version of himself from another time period.
Yeah. Like, and again, like, because essentially that's kind of what the Batman Who Laughs is, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
So Batman again, mixed with Joker.
I wasn't mad at that reveal. I groaned a little bit because, of course, it's Batman Who Laughs, but like it made sense. What didn't make sense is just undoing it 2 pages later. Like, if you wanted to do Mixie and do the Emperor Joker thing, which is fine as well, I guess. It feels like it's there just for the reference, but sure, whatever. But doing the 2 back to back as just having it to fit in 2 references for no reason feels
they
like
wanted
extra force.
2 reveal pages. They wanted 2 cheap pops, and they got their 2 cheap pops, and that was a bit.
Yeah, it was simultaneously the most Snyder thing he could have done, but also the most Williamson thing
yes.
they could have done. Like I was like, that's actually kind of impressive, right? Like to do that.
Yeah. So the other big things here to get to really would be, one, they go back to this whole game night, and that kind of been this like running metaphor for what Superman's like, how he's playing this tournament, because it's like how he plays the game, and this idea of him not wanting to see other people lose and blah blah blah. The big thing though, and the other big like cheap pop double splash page kind of reveal later on, is that to combat the fact that Guy Gardner's going to make like a construct of kryptonite that does at least somewhat work, he reveals to Billy that he didn't just pick him to give him another chance, he picked him because he's got a unique ability that no one else does, and that is to share his power. So we get Shazam Superman to help him win his fight. So like, that's a fine idea, because I think the reason why it works a little bit is because you can see what he's hinting at before you get to that splash page, so you get to anticipate, what's this going to look like? What's what's the fusion of Shazam Superman going to like? So
Kind of ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah,
That logo just looks like it's dripping.
Yeah, but I like the white cape and the electrified hands. Like it's,
I do like that. I like the color scheme's fine. It's just the actual logo with like the lightning bolt kind of like dripping off. It looks like someone spilled something down him.
yeah, I think there's a better way they could have fused the
melting.
logos together. But I mean, it's fine. Like, you know what? It's not like a super serious thing. It's a one-time gimmicky. Like, this is how he's going to win the fight.
If it was me, I would have kept kept the shield, but replaced the S with the lightning bolt.
Mhm.
I can see that.
Yeah. Well, and that's right before or that's after Hal hits him with a synthetic version of Black Mercy, like a construct version, and it looks like that's it for Superman.
Part of me wants to complain about this a little bit because the level of speed of which Superman just fights this off and like beats it when it's supposed to be this thing that almost killed him. I mean, I get it, it's a construct, it's not the real thing,
right?
But it's like I don't know, it just feels a bit easy.
It's another one that just feels like a cheap reference, and I feel like if you wanted to do this, which is like I said, it's a bit cheap, but if you wanted to do it, that needed to be one of the tie-in issues, right? That needs to be an issue of Superman
it needs to be a full issue. Yeah,
like you can't have it be done over like what a page, 2 pages.
It's like it's like a one-page thing where it's like, oh, he's got his whole family, but it also Krypton still exists and the elves are still here. Like all good parts of what he had and what he's not had are all coming together.
Yeah, it plays with his fantasy version of what he's going to do if he's going to win, which I do like. To bring a positive in, there is that through line of Superman doesn't have the Constitution to put things back better. He'll put them back the way they were, and so I like that through line here, that this is what like Superman's ultimate would look like if he had given the choice, right? Like there's nothing ever wrong and there's almost no need for any of them. So I do like that they touch on that just a little bit, and through the Black Mercy vision we get to see a little bit more of it.
The one thing I genuinely really like in this issue, right, there's some things that I think are all right and are entertaining enough, like moment, like Barda like being thrown by Wonder Woman, that's just a fun actiony moment, but it's the moment after Superman wins his fight and he looks over at Lex, who's also won, and he says that Lex is looking at him with adoration, like a look that he's never really seen before. This idea that Lex is finally kind of approving of something that he's done, and how that implies a chill going down Superman's spine of like, wait, I've just impressed Lex Luthor, something's not right here. Like that is actually a good little moment to like touch on, so I appreciate that. Yeah. All right.
And there was a little footnote too that's in the narration with the Heart of Apocalypse about how the Heart of Apocalypse is also able to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Corrupt some of these people through this destination power, but with some of the people that are left, it's proving to be more difficult because it mentions Captain Atom, and I was like, well, we didn't need any of that, because that didn't come through in that issue with Captain Atom really at all. It just seemed like he wanted to win the fight against Superman. He didn't do anything different. So I feel like them throwing that in there was a bit later than it could have been.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so the
final four.
Yeah, the final four are Joker, Lex, Superman, and Wonder Woman, which is not a surprising final four, honestly, all things considered. And they get transported to what at first one of them thinks is Apocalypse, and they're like, no, don't be silly, this isn't Apocalypse, this is some just alternate version of Earth. And the reveal is they're going to fight the absolute Trinity next round. But it's not really them. It feels like it's just like a manifestation of them.
Yeah.
This is why I really don't like this. This is like in an issue full of cheap pops. This is the ultimate cheap pop.
Yeah.
But because I'm excited for the real versions of these characters meeting the absolute versions, but that's not what this is. We're not meeting the real characters yet.
We haven't even had the real version of these absolute characters form a Trinity yet.
No, we've had our first pairing recently, but that's bad.
Yeah, but they're not a thing yet in that world. And like, I don't know, this being the first instance of that is not exciting to me at all.
Well, and don't forget we got Booster Darkseid as well.
Oh, don't remember. How could I forget Booster Darkseid?
which again, having read all 8 of the fight issues now, those interludes don't have any sense of flow. It is just stuff happening and us going back to things that are like, well, now Gorilla Grodd is fighting him, and now he's, you know,
honestly, I think you've just summed up this event. There is no flow to any of this event. From what I've read, it just feels like there's stuff happening, and
no, but I would say there is a flow in this with the gimmicks of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we each round
there's a formula, but I don't think there's a flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the difference between a formula and a flow? You know,
well, a flow implies momentum and implies that one event's like naturally leading to the next one. A formula is just like a set of order that you just keep doing things in because it's.
I don't think there ever is any momentum moving things on. It always just feels like this is the stage we're on now. Let's do this stage. Tick all these boxes, and then that's done now. Here's the next thing. And it doesn't feel like there's any reason to progress to the next thing.
And it's very literal as well, where they just literally get whisked away to a completely new realm, where the Heart of Apocalypse just makes entire worlds for them to live in and fight in. Like everything about it feels very video gamey, and like a way that just feels non-tactile.
There is no flow from the end of the fights in this issue to, okay, we're doing absolute apocalypse stuff now. Like, it's just that's just what we're doing next.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just I'm whelmed.
Yes,
I'm simply whelmed.
So I liked moments in this, but as a whole, I don't know how much. I did not like this last page because, again, this is not my absolute heroes. I can just look at them and they seem off.
Sadistic Batman grin.
Yeah, it's not really them. Which, I mean, maybe the point of this in the long term of like building to whenever they do interact with those characters is that they're going to have like a weird view of them. But then, having said that, that's assuming that the characters in this tournament even remember the tournament once this is all done, which I'm not even convinced they will.
No. Maybe the winner will.
Maybe the winner
ends up being. Yeah.
Well,
and then they have
with the things that are being hinted based off of like upcoming events, it feels like Superman's going to have to be the one that wins and then vanishes, right?
Yeah, presumably, yeah.
Because it definitely seems like we're approaching a period of books without Superman.
Yeah, Matt's favourite type of period.
Hey, he's got Reign of the Superboys to cover. It's fine.
You just made me sad because I forgot about that, Connor.
Yes, I love.
And I just remember Superboy Prime is now starring in one of them, and now I think I put it together. Why?
Yeah, so that Superman's going to win this, and then as either sacrifices or it has to go, not be part of the new world that is made, so to speak.
He's going to have to sit at the base of the world tree.
Yeah, he's going to do the whole like Atlas holding up the world thing. Like,
Yep.
Which is whatever. Do you know what I want to say, to put a positive note in here, which is not even a positive about the event itself? I want to say how happy I am that despite like how gimmicky this is and how it's infected a couple of ongoings with its tie-ins, but I want to say just how nice it is that there's been so much good DC stuff outside of anything that KO's touched that it's not even like really dampened my enthusiasm week to week. It's just the event itself is pretty gimmicky and it's getting worse as it goes.
I would agree, but it has knocked me off a couple of books I was reading that I've dropped Aquaman now. I probably would have stuck with it, but two tie-in issues in a row, and I just went nope.
Oh no, I don't tell that anyway.
Me and Pete got what 4 or 5 in.
Well, I got like 3 in, and I said F this. Okay. You read like one more and said, you know what, you're smart, Peter. That was the right choice you made.
It wasn't like great, but I was reading it, right? And then
you just like him being King Arthur.
I was like, you know what? I'm
the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I mean, even the main Superman book, like, it's just like, it's tie-ins, I don't want to read them. And then I'm like, do I have to go back to it after, or can I wait till there's a nice refresh point?
I mean, I didn't read the last Superman. I'm happy to go back to it once the KO stuff's done, because it will be a relatively, because especially if Superman's not there, it'll be like a fresh status quo that we're in. So I'm not worried about that. But like, between all the Absolute books and all the good Bat books that are on right now,
Since I got back into comics, 20 plus years ago, this is like the 4th time we've done a no Superman thing. So we had War World, we've had New Krypton, we've had, I'm trying to think of some 52. Others. I know I said 4, yeah, 52. Like, this happens a lot, man.
That was the whole Trinity 52, to be fair, but yeah.
It was, but he's still there.
Yeah.
It wasn't, that was the point.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I just, like, well, I think this event's just kind of a bit whatever. I don't think it's actually impacting how I feel about DC as a whole. In fact, there's a lot of positive things going on right now. There's a lot of positive new books coming out. Like, Like, I don't know, because sometimes I feel like when like the big event that they're pushing sucks, it really drags everything down. I don't think that's quite happened with this. I feel like a lot of what I like about DC has remained untouched, and it's not like Joshua Williamson's Superman was the thing that I was like super excited for each month anyway. I was kind of lukewarm in that book.
Yeah.
I agree. It's all books I was already like on. Justice League Unlimited is the other one.
Yeah.
Where am I?
Well, yeah. That.
Am I going to go back to that after these 2 tie-in issues that I'm not going to read? No,
We'll
probably not.
Matt's shaking his head like there's a good 50-50 shot of you going back to that, Matt.
It depends on how busy that book is. How busy that week is.
Yeah, don't worry. Matt will read at least a few more Unlimited
Like
issues.
I was reading it. I wasn't loving it, but it was fine. And then and then now there's okay, I'm skipping 2 issues for tie-ins or whatever it is, 3 issues, and I'm like, okay,
well,
I'm probably done.
There's been more than that.
Well, it was because there was
Unlimited.
tie-ins to World's Finest because it was like a crossover for like a while as well.
Yeah.
So it's
the terrific 10 really let me down because it had a whole lot of promise, and with every issue it got worse. So
anyway, so you know, I thought it was a mediocre issue, very gimmicky, very kind of cheap pops left and right, reveals that are just there for the shock page turn kind of value and nothing more. And then ultimately, like I got to the end of this and felt like, yeah, most of the fights are kind of meaningless because it doesn't really matter because they are just fights for fight's sake for the tournament. So at the end, I'm like, yeah, it could have been an email. You could have just told me who won these, and we could have been done.
This issue could have been a wiki entry.
Yeah. So.
But guys, we had Barda and Diana teaming up, and she had Barda shoot things or what was it? Throw punches at her bracers, and it created a sonic boom.
That's a fun idea for a fighting moment, but
that was so cool.
It would be cooler if it was actually in a fight that mattered in like the context of the world, and they'd remember it afterwards. Like those things would all make it feel more, because there would be like their friendship would be even stronger after that.
Yeah.
Do you know what the thing is? You have that one page where near the start where it's like, here's all the things from last time, like from Fight Month.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is that, and then the updated bracket that you'll get at the end. That's it. I don't need anything else from this
most
issue.
of us, it's fluff, and it does that thing where, you know how like we always talk about stakes, or like just saying that everything's at stake basically means there's no stakes because it doesn't really mean anything. This is like the epitome of that, where literally all of existence needs to be saved by the winner of this tournament, but it just feels like, well, obviously we're not going to end the universe, we're going to keep going, so it doesn't really feel like there is stakes. You know, it's like so many stakes become negative stakes at a certain point.
Yeah. At least the art's solid though.
Oh yeah, they are good.
Solid.
I don't know. It's 2 good artists. I have no complaints.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good looking book. All right, we're so enthusiastic. Matt, what are you rating DCKO 3?
Well, I'm giving the Diana and Barda moment a 9, but the book as a whole, no, I'm giving it a 7. So I think I had way more fun with this than you guys did, but I also am, living in the worst timeline, so any type of distraction.
What are you giving it, Connor?
I'm going to give it a very generous 5.
Yes, very good. And then
we're back at it, guys.
I don't know what I would even give it, to be honest. I think there's enough just hollow entertainment, I think, to get it over the 5. But how high do I want to go? I will give it a 6. I'll split the difference and call it a 6. I think that moment with Superman noticing Lex is impressed with what he's just done is a genuinely good moment that gives it a little bit of a boost. So there you go. Nice range of scores there. Action Comics 1094, Mark Waid writing with Patricio Delpeche on the art. Never heard that name before. I will say this though on the art, to start off with that, is that it does look very similar to the Partridge style that we normally get. Like they found someone who has a close sort of vibe.
I think it's like those mega flat colors are really helping.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's the flat colors but also this artist uses heavier inks, to make it a bit different.
Feels a little more Somni-esque.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, not at all.
No.
So, so when you got into this, that it was going to be the one where like he was pulled into like a military thing, right? That Sam Lane was going to yank him into whatever conflict. But there's still some teen stuff like before and after, particularly this idea that Lana's dad is being all kind of weird and taking notes, and it's teasing that in a few weeks' time there's going to be some event with him that we're building to. But
which, as a longtime Superman fan, I have no idea what they're talking about. So that's exciting.
I don't know any of this part of the Lana history. That this is all like news to me.
Yeah, it's either the Waid is pulling something from like the legit golden age that we just never knew, or he's just adding something, which is good.
With Waid, I'm more inclined to think it's probably the former, and then he's doing a spin on it. But just because that's kind of his shtick, right? He loves doing that. A bit like Morrison does.
Yeah, and they developed Lana's character here a little bit, this whole thing where she's like, you know, her parents are actually kind of well off because her dad's job, being an archaeologist and all that, but she doesn't want to like show it off at school. She doesn't want to like stick out, so she doesn't wear the fancier clothes that they buy her. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting little bit of character development. So the whole thing is, though, is he gets called in, he's feeling kind of like, you know, bad about having to like always lie, and he feels kind of alone, and that's something that really comes back in at the end. We'll go to the ending. The military conflict, though, is he's sent in to save Silas Stone, so it's Cyborg's dad, who's been kidnapped behind enemy lines, and they send him in to go and deal with that. He meets up with some troops and tries to help them, but suspiciously, when he gets there, he immediately feels kind of, I don't know if weak's the right word, but something's going on. Like, he's not feeling himself. It turns out to be a high-pitched, like, sonic weapon device that's kind of affecting his hearing. And he even says in the narration that eventually he'd be able to tune this kind of thing out. You know, he'd be really skilled at, like, picking what he hears, but he couldn't do that yet, so it's hitting him quite hard. I was like, okay, that's some interesting, you know, in-depth lore. I'm cool with that.
It's the fact that he can talk to the soldiers, but the soldiers can't hear the soldiers too. So now he has to communicate through, you know, doing whatever, which I do like. And just the idea when he comes across the dead pilot, him having to actually come face to face with like death in this way. And
again, it makes it very clear there was not anything that he could have done. He was already dead by the time he got here.
Yeah.
Right. But and Clark's like, yeah, I'm on a farm and I've been to a couple funerals, but like this is the first time because of like human action that he was put face to, which I do like that being a big moment in Superman's development. You know, it raises his stakes of like, this is for serious. Like, I have to be the best hero I can be, this kind of thing.
Did anyone else like have a feeling the entire time that it was going to be a much sketchier mission than it ended up being?
Yeah, I was actually thinking, there was definitely a part in the middle where I thought, like, maybe not super sketchy per se, but it was actually all a test to see if they could, like, affect Superboy.
Maybe. Because I think it was at the end of the last issue where we get the reveal that General Aim wants to use him, and it's like Project Super Weapon or something like that, is what he calls it. And it made it feel like, oh, he's going to use him to do something that's really against his morals, that he's going to try. And nothing in this issue is against Clark's morals. He's literally just, he's involved in an active conflict that's like sanctioned by the US government, which is a little bit unusual for Superman, as we know later, but it's ultimately, he is there to just escort people to safety, and that is it. He's not there to do anything that he would consider crossing a line. And maybe it's just General Aim trying to ease him in, like, hey, let's get him in first. But I thought he would try it.
I'm sure the missions are going to get like sketchier or tougher as time goes on. There's probably going to be some where he does have to question, like, do I want to cross this line?
I agree. I just thought there'd be something like that in the first one with the way it was presented from last issue.
Yeah.
Well, I also like that Waid is doing the Superman in the military kind of thing, year one, that another creator tried and it tanked, years ago. So I feel like this is how you do it too, because it's at first it's nothing that Clark's going to object to, and so you build to it, and at this point, it's not like he has heat vision or full control of his powers either.
Well, we know he doesn't have heat vision. It likes to remind us every issue. I didn't have heat vision yet, so I had to do something else.
Yeah. It does have freeze breath, though, because he puts a wall of ice up to stop some bullets at one point.
Yeah. But I do like that it keeps, he's not quite a weapon, right? So it's almost like laying as a raptor testing the fences to just see how far he can go, And again, they're developing this, Silo Stone doing the sonic weapon shouldn't be a surprise, knowing what Cyborg's main go-to kind of weapons are.
I also wonder
Titans,
if now these troops reporting back to Sam Lane, is this going to be like, oh, we know something that affects them, we'll keep this in our back pocket, Silas, keep making more of these so we can use them later, kind of thing, so that if we ever have to go against Superboy, we can fight him.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, maybe Sam Lane nefariously is looking for ways to control him, and this would be one thing that maybe will help do that. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it was all doing. I mean, there's a nice little somber moment at the end where he goes back to the dead pilot and like puts his cape over him and carries him away.
Yeah.
It felt quite, just a nice quiet page of that happening. And then it really emphasizes this idea that he feels very lonely because he can't tell anyone about what he does or what, why he's late to things. And they actually set up the last issue that Pete had been feeling that way, like, hey, you've been kind of distant, can we go camping again? So this issue actually ends with this camping trip that they set up before. And, Clark even thinks to himself, like, is it possible? Could I tell Pete? And he actually flies off at night from the tent to go save a couple who are getting attacked by bears, which I actually thought was quite adorable, because he picks both the bears up by the back of the neck and sort of puts them down. He doesn't want to hurt them, because the bears aren't doing anything wrong. He's just like, let's get away from the humans. So he puts them down like a couple of pets, and the bears just kind of look like, oh, what's happening here? We're being manhandled.
Yeah, well, why are we flying? I mean, that's also on the campers for not having a bear sack to put in the trees. If you're camping in bear territory, there's rules. I mean, you're saying this like we've ever heard of this. We've never heard of any of these bear rules. Do you guys live in a place where there's grizzly bears?
No, but bears can get into like goddamn anything. You have to proper bear things. Like, I'm aware of this.
Yeah, I never heard of this. I also, every so often I'll hear in a movie someone mention something about rope to deal with snakes, and I'm like, what do you do with a rope to deal with a snake? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about that either.
I've definitely heard multiple people say this in different movies. So you use rope to, I don't know, repel snakes in some way. I don't know if it's like soaked in something or they're doing something with it, but
maybe they're just like whipping them with the...
So you're telling me this whole time Indiana Jones has had the key to dealing with snakes at his hip, and he's so terrified he hasn't thought about it?
I mean, it tends to be thicker rope from what I've seen, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I know it's doused in something so the snakes won't like slither over it or something. I have no idea what it is, but I've heard something to do with.
But
rope.
No, I do. Yeah, but I did like that part with the bears, not just because I love bears, right? But him picking them up, like Pete said, like they're puppies, by the scruff of their necks, and dropping them off somewhere where they can't get into trouble, which is how we should be dealing with bears.
All of a sudden,
dropping them off where they can't cause trouble.
The art on their faces made it look like they're like in like a cartoon, and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
What's that? So that was fun.
How are we flying?
And then the climax at the end is like Clark saying, no, I can't tell Pete Ross what I am because that's too much of a burden and that's not fair to him. But when he lies back down in the tent, you just see that Pete's eyes are open and he's like, did I just see Clark land from flying?
See, the thing is, I did not get that from the art up until that point. This is my one major critique with this issue, is that the reveal at the end with the eyes, that's what I assumed it was telling me. And then I look back and there's no way he kind of, like, he's inside the tent's closed. He isn't in his Superboy outfit at any point that Pete could see. For all he knows, Clark just got up and went for a piss and came back.
I mean, I can believe that he's pretending to be asleep because he's Clark's about to open the tent. But I mean, like, I don't know, maybe he just heard him land or something. Maybe he was outside and like scurried back in. I don't know.
Maybe it feels like it feels like you're stretching to explain something though, because of the implication at the end.
I don't think it needs to be that explained though. I think the look in the I got just immediately from looking at his face in that last panel that he is aware of something that Superman or Superboy is not supposed to like have told him, right? Because he's either seen or heard something now. Is
that what that's supposed to be in that top panel? Is that supposed to be the shadow of him looking out? Because I didn't get that. I'm looking like maybe that's what that is, but it kind of just
maybe because he's just looking through the netting part of the tent.
Yeah, I think it's. Do you know what's throwing me off about that shadow is that it doesn't look right. I feel like the shadow, it has that oval bit cut out at the bottom, like in his torso, and it needs to continue down to where the flap is no longer netting. And if it had that, I would think it was a person, but as it is, it just looks like another random shadow.
It almost looks to me more like Clark's shadow. Because the way that it lines
Clark's
up.
shadow's on the floor next to him, right?
That's on the ground.
No,
yeah.
I know, but just the way that it's in the background, I didn't even notice it until you guys just said something.
Yeah.
So
I think to me, like, the netting on the tent is clearly something that you can see through, and that's all I didn't think about it that hard, to be honest. I just sort of took the expression at the end to mean what it meant, and then moved on with my life.
I don't know, just him laying there with his eyes open like that. He looks like a CPR dummy. And it frightened him. It frightened me a little bit.
He looks like he's having an flashback, like he's seen some serious shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to be fair though, I do like what this sets up. I like this idea that Pete knows, but Clark doesn't know he knows yet. So there's maybe going to be a little fun with that potentially for at least an issue before he finally like reveals that he knows or saw something.
Man, have I got a TV show for you?
Yeah.
That didn't happen in Smallville, did it?
Maybe not with Pete, but it definitely happened a few times
Yeah.
with other characters.
Did that with Chloe? Was that a Chloe thing?
Yeah,
Did she know
definitely
before?
happened with Chloe.
Okay.
It definitely happened with at least two or three.
She put it together.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it
Happened with
Lois
Lana
put it
like 3
together.
times, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but she always get mind
Yeah,
wiped
and then she
whenever
got
that
mind
happens.
wiped.
Yeah, obviously. But it still happened.
I forgot what I was gonna say now. I don't know. I do love that they're still going forward with the love triangle between Clark, Lana, and Superboy, right?
Yeah.
Because she's still writing that stuff on there. Now the idea that there's another triangle and that it's Pete knows that Clark's Superboy, but Clark doesn't know that Pete knows, and it creates this other weird triangle.
What if? Because so earlier in the issue, Lana's got like on her her case or whatever, she has like a little LL loves SB, right?
SB.
What if she's like got something like that sitting out and like Pete's sitting there and he knows that Clark is Superboy, but Clark doesn't know that Pete knows that he's Superboy, but he knows that Lana secretly has a crush on his alter ego, but doesn't know that that's the same person as Clark. There's like a weird tangled web of like who knows what starting to form here and potentially.
I love that. That's the stuff I feel like Waid's handling really adeptly. And the type of young Clark stories I do want to hear. Because I'm not that big on the military stuff. And then even before this, the stuff with Captain Comet was kind of a little bit hit or miss, you know. But all of
I think this is some of Waid's best DC work recently. There was the Batman Robin Year 1, and then this is probably the next best thing he's had.
Oh yeah. I mean, Batman Robin Year 1's his like crown jewel of the last few years, so that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just some of that stuff. I just feel like it's a little bit weird, but the teen stuff he's really hitting on.
All right, well, I guess we're ready to. I enjoyed the art. Despite complaints of shadows at the end, was there a cross in that panel that's there in the next one? Who can say? And
Pete Ross's dead eyes.
He's maybe shocked though, so I can accept the dead eyes in that panel. It works for the what you're supposed to be feeling in the moment. So I get it. All right, Matt, what were you rating Action Comics?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
All right, Connor.
I'll go with a 7.5.
I think I agree with the 8. I think I agree with the 8 out of 10. Well, pretty damn good. All right. Green Lantern Corps, issue 12, legacy number 115, Morgan Hampton writing with Will Conrad, Jason Paz, and Fernando Pasarin on the art. What is it about Green Lantern Corps where we have to have at least 3 artists? Because it feels like that's been the trend in the last 3 or 4 issues.
I don't know. I think I'm done with this book. It's been rough for a few issues, and throwing in multiple artists is not helping. I've
been enjoying the story. I've actually been quite liking some of the story things.
I've been finding it really hard to get into the story because of how jarring it's been with all the different artists on like multiple issues.
Like I will happily throw some crap at the different art, like how many artists they've got in each issue. Admittedly, none have been as bad as that one issue where 2 artists were drawing an alien character so differently that it got confusing as to if it was meant to be the same character, because we had a rant about that, and I'm so happy at least a couple of comments said they were confused as well, because I was just losing my mind, like, is this meant to be the same blue alien?
Yeah, so for all of that, I don't mind the fatality stories, whatever. It's cool. I really like the squabbles between the different core on Oa and them trying to live, and coexist. I do like that. This is.
I like both. Fatali herself is fine, but for me, it's this idea of the water being who was once from a water planet, and that's why he wants revenge, and him coming to Oa with an entire ocean planet that he's converted into, all of it being controlled by him. I'm kind of into that, and I'm also kind of into this idea of all the cores are working together. There's a diplomacy there, but the one problem with that is that Larfleeze, by nature, is a greedy bastard and wants everything for himself. So this issue is very much about him trying to make his move to take Oa.
Yeah, complete with an orange nuclear mushroom cloud. Which that
made me laugh,
got me.
To be fair.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
he's a little scamp, that Larfleeze.
Yeah,
he's like a wet
famously
Muppet.
a little scamp.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he's a scamp who wants everything. So, you've got Jessica in charge of the core here. You've got her with the other leaders of the cores, discussing all this stuff, and they're the ones that Larfleeze tries to assassinate and then goes after everywhere else. He obviously does not succeed in killing them, but that's the idea. And then a big construct of Larfleeze starts attacking the main city where all the Green Lanterns are based. Because that's one of the things that this issue was getting into that I feel like, at least I don't remember them getting into this a lot in the past, which is the ideas of the different cities that are on Oa. Because now that we've got different cores, sort of setting up camp in different parts of the world, it's we're kind of giving names to all these places now, and I'm not going to remember them for a while, but...
I remember you guys were reading during the pandemic, you guys started the Green Lantern Mosaic book, which was about John being the sheriff on that planet that was a patchwork, right? Type deal. And from what you guys talking about this is what it's reminding me of a little bit, where they're kind of touching on that this is a patchwork Oa now. It's not all just the Green Lanterns. And each of these areas kind of has its own vibe. Even the way that they, discuss it, where they're just Zara in the Red Lantern Corps base versus Xanthus, which is the residents of the Sinestro Corps. They each have their own identity, and they're feeling like a patchwork, city-state system, kind of, right? Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm digging the overall direction that it's going in here, and it makes sense that Larfleeze would be the problem one. He's the one that just because even though the other cores Sinestro, he's a bit militant, of course, and Atrocitus has got a bit of a temper, but they all have some level of reason to them. It all makes some sense.
Yeah, it's Sinestro still is just he knows what he needs to do to be successful, whereas Larfleeze doesn't care. He just wants everything, right? And do you guys think this is going to lead to an actual orange core by the end, because they can't have one person have the orange energy?
No, because that defeats the whole point, right? Orange.
I think the idea in this issue that his orange energy infects others and they become greedy people. I think that's maybe the closest we'll get to an orange core, is the idea that his greed is spreading to others. But I don't see that lasting into a core per se.
I think my problem is the way I've always understood orange is if there were someone that would get infected with orange and became greedy as well, they'd just want to kill Larfleeze because they need all the orange energy for themselves. Right. So it would just be fight to the death. Whoever
there
wins
needs to be a
over.
way to just kind of keep him contained and under lockdown and just make sure he can.
Yeah. Well, they threw him when he was in the Lost Sector, right? That's where I don't remember that far back at this point when he got introduced, but that's how where he's been this whole time. That's how the Guardians dealt with him. They just threw him in his sector and was stay over there. And the War of Light started popping off.
Maybe he needs to be quarantined from everyone else. I don't know, but it makes sense to have this thing. And then the other part of this, of course, is the Indigo tribe, are all meditating and see visions of this water planet coming for them. So
yeah, those guys are on an ayahuasca retreat, and it cracks me up. They're sitting in a cave in dead silence, tripping balls on meditation stuff, But yeah, I also like that the orange energy attaches to the Thanagarians. So now you have these orange hawk beings swooping down and attacking, which that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Thanagarians who are all refugees because Thanagar, met a demise. So, I think this book's actually a really solid like Green Lantern universe book. Like, I don't know, I think it's hitting heights of like, like amazing storytelling necessarily, but like, I think it's a really good home for a lot of these characters for me.
It really frustrates me because I do like all the ideas that it's doing. I just find it a chore to actually read.
I'm doing okay with that. Like I say, there was that one issue where the art was so like all over the place that it was actually making things confusing. Here, like, it's never going to win for art. Even like there's individual pages where I think this art looks quite good depending on who the artist is, but obviously it's not consistent.
I think my problem is just I find it really hard to get into an issue because every time I feel like I'm getting into the issue, there's an art switch or something like that, and it feels like there's no flow to it, and I really struggle to connect with anything that's going on. But like when I break it down and look at all the beats, I like all the beats. I just don't enjoy reading them in the issue.
You say that, and then I turn the page and I got Kaiju Larfleeze versus the T-Rex, and it looks pretty cool.
It does.
So then I quickly forget that I'm annoyed.
And then you go to the next thing and it just looks completely different.
Yeah, I don't think it gets in the way for me quite as much as it does for you, which is ultimately why I'm able to still quite enjoy this, even with... I think it's an objectively good complaint to have, but it's not like completely destroying of it. It just puts a ceiling on the art side of it and like how much it's going to rise up until it gets steady at some point, hopefully.
It's 4 artists on a 20-page book. That's so much.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why.
I mean, it is just...
Yeah, I don't know why it's so many. Like, I get why maybe one issue was a problem and they had to like rush to get people in to finish it, but like I don't know why it's been this way for like 3 or 4 issues now. Yeah. So that's just kind of strange.
It's extra bad here because you've got 2 different colorists as well. So there's not like sometimes when you have like multiple different artists, you just have one colorist, so it still feels cohesive. This doesn't even have that. So there's just too many distinct different things going on. They just it feels like I say, it's so jarring for me just to try and read it. It's just an uncomfortable reading experience, despite the fact that the actual plot beats themselves are pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to keep going. Like I am enjoying reading it, but there is kind of a ceiling on kind of the rating and like how I feel about the art because of how many artists there's been in every issue. Seemingly, I mean, not since it started, but certainly the last arc or so has been kind of like that.
I think it was okay to start when it was like Hampton, really heavily crossing over with the 2 books.
Yeah. It's since Hampton started getting a solo credit, and I just feel like I feel bad because the art can't be consistent enough to make the story.
Yeah, I feel like there may have been 2 artists even at the start, but then it was kind of like there was 2 plots going on, so it felt a bit more natural when it was flipping between them. You'd have like a story with John and someone, and then they'd have a story with like Guy and Kyle doing something, and like they'd be flipping between them, and it was a little bit easier to get into the groove. Here it doesn't really feel like there's any narrative reason why there should be more than one artist. So when there's like 3 or 4, it starts to really feel like we're kind of jumping all over the place. But
just doing anything to hit those deadlines and get it out on time.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why this, like, again, why is it multiple issues in a row where it's been that tight deadline-wise?
And again, like, earlier in the run, I'd have got it because it was crossing over pretty heavily with the other book. Now, delay a week or 2, is there really any real consequence to that?
I do not know. I don't know. Maybe there's some wonky scheduling thing with this book where a bunch of issues were written and they didn't get the art started until much later or something. I don't know.
Late.
But regardless, that aside, I do like the cliffhanger of like this. This external threat is coming whilst all the cores are having to deal with Larfleeze on a like. I do like kind of what the book's doing. There's also a bit where John's girlfriend, like her wife, gets infected with the orange energy and fights him, so he has to put her into cryo freeze just to like sort of like end the fight.
He does a construct of one of the science cells that froze the rest of them. Which I thought that was very Jon Stewart, But yeah, I do like that it's Aya as well that is the one that does this her soul self to see this big, water planet heading their way. Because I do like the development that's going on with her.
Yeah, she basically joins the meditation with the Indigo tribe and sees this herself. Yeah, that's how we end the issue. So Yeah. No, I'm still enjoying this as the second Green Lantern book quite a bit. I do acknowledge all the art critiques, but it's not completely taking me out of it at the very least. Matt, what are you giving Green Lantern Corps issue 12?
I'm going to give this a 6.5.
And Connor?
With the caveat that I know this feels very harsh, a 4.
You're right, it does feel harsh. I'm going to agree with the 6.5 for me, which is, acknowledging all the art problems and whatnot. All right, Batman and Robin, issue 29, Legacy number 95. Philip Kennedy Johnson writing with Fico Ossio back on the arc because he took one issue off there. But we're sort of deep into this Quiet Man and Scarface story, which, I think at the start of this arc, we just called it the Quiet Man arc, but obviously over time it's become very clear it's equally a Scarface story.
So thinking about that too, the fact that ventriloquist / Scarface ended up being the villain, and it was called the Quiet Man. I was like, Philip Kennedy Johnson.
There's a lot of double meaning there. Yeah, it's good.
We're good.
Because it was a genuine good twist last issue with the handler lady's been dead for weeks and he's been talking to someone in his mind this whole time. And in this issue, I think is one of the strongest issues that the arc has had, because I think this one really put everything in place for the conclusion.
Yeah.
Particularly the debate between Damian and Batman, I really liked, where Damian kind of calls out Batman for being like, you hate this guy so much, but he's really not that different from you. He just didn't have the resources you had, right? He's a guy with a rifle and a truck, so he did what he thought he could when his world was stolen from him. Because there's a moment when they're talking to the Quiet Man in his cell, and Batman gives like a proper grim face when the Quiet Man says, "You don't know what it's like to lose loved ones," and I'm like, "Bitch, please, you're talking to Batman." I know you don't know this.
It's kind of my thing,
but very much his thing. But no, Damian pulls him up and says, "Look, I think you hate him because he's like just a couple of steps off of what you are, and I know that myself as Damian Wayne because I was being made into something that then you kind of course corrected me on." But I can see how very easy it is to be what he is and still think you're doing the right thing and have the passion to back it up. So I sympathize. Like, I'll still stop him from murdering people. I agree with stopping him, but I sympathize with him. He's like, because Batman specifically says he's just like Two-Face or Joker. And Damian's very right to say, no, he's not just like one of them. Yes, he's crossed some lines, but that does not make him one of our rogues gallery all the same. So I really like that debate that comes out. And I love that Batman's reaction at the end of that scene is to sort of kneel down, smile, and say, "You know what? Yeah, we need to talk about this more like properly. Like, we need to have this full discussion." But at the very least, he seems to respect Damian for making these points. He's like, "You know what? You're calling me on my bullshit, and I respect that."
I love that they're in the rain and the art, right, is playing with the light, with the colors and whatever. And at the bottom of the page where Damian tells him, "I find it of note that you hate him so much," and it's just this dark face on Batman, right?
You can't actually see any of his face, just the eyes that are illuminated.
It's just the eyes and everything. And then you turn the page and now he's eye to eye with Damian going, "Pretty brave, aren't you?" And it feels so ominous until you look at the next one. And now he's smiling because it's almost like
you don't know how Batman's...
I've done my job as a parent.
Yeah, you don't know how Batman's taken what he just said until that next page. It lets you wonder for a second, oh, is he just pissed them off? Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. So obviously there's stuff with Wesker being sort of directed by the voice in his mind to go and get Scarface's stuff, and then we get the big reveal when Scarface shows up and kills Paulie, the guy that works for Penguin, and just like kills everyone in the room with the Tommy gun. And it's like, and Batman even says this later, like, Scarface, he will flip the chess table rather than play the game to make an impact, and that's effectively what he's doing here. And it's everything sort of like coalescing so that Penguin's going to be at this fundraiser and Scarface is going to go after him. So when I say I like this issue a lot, it's because it felt like all the pieces were coming together really nicely. Like, I loved the first couple issues of this arc when it set up all the Quiet Man stuff. I think the middle issues were good, but definitely, I was feeling the kind of the turn of like, we're setting all the things up of all the various elements. Here it felt like everything was kind of coming together both thematically and narratively, where everything's kind of like verging on this final showdown kind of point.
I think I'm still a little bit more down on it than you are. I think with the caveat that the scene between Batman and Robin is probably the best scene of the entire arc. That confrontation, it is spectacular. But the rest of the issue, I feel like it is just right. Let's push towards the end of the arc. It's let's just get everything ready for the final issue. I mean, I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's enjoyable enough. But I actually think it's weaker still than like the first couple issues of the arc.
I think for me, what was working about the middle part of this issue is that I think it was really selling me on Scarface as a big villain, or the ventriloquist and his like illness as a big villain. Just how vicious he is.
It's the idea that he doesn't want to work together like Penguin and Two-Face will, right? Like they have the concept of the greater good. That's good for them. Scarface is like, no, I want chaos. He's almost a little bit closer to Joker in that, right? Scarface wants to do what Scarface wants to do.
Yeah, more in the classic sort of mob boss, I want all the power kind of thing. Whereas Joker's a little bit more just chaos. But yeah.
But yeah,
it works.
So I like that, and then the how showing how similar Batman and Quiet Man are, right? Where the guards come in, and it's put pretty early on in the issue how tore up Quiet Man is, you know, like the amount of damage he has, and the fact that he takes them all out and ends up having like kind of this Batman moment at the end.
Yeah, I liked because they set up this idea that they want like the guards that they've got on the payroll, right? The corrupt guards are going to kill the Quiet Man for Penguin, and I like that once we actually get to them deciding like whether or not it should do it, they already find out that Polly and all of his men have been killed, and they're like, wait, do we still kill this guy? It's like, who's going to be in power by the end of the night? We don't know if it's going to be Scarface or Penguin or whoever, but whoever it is probably is going to want him dead anyway, so we should probably still do it. I kind of like that little like debate of like who's going to be in power by the end of the night, but they all probably want him dead, so let's just continue that order regardless.
And then so they go in there, and he's in that Quiet Man font, right, where he says there's no greater sinner than a man who hides an evil nature behind a uniform. And so it has him, and he's chained to like the wall still.
Yeah, can I just say that line hits particularly hard right now, so yeah.
Yep. Well, I was gonna get to that there, but the fact that they look scared, right? Like he is standing there covered with blood. He has, you know, he's broken out from where he's supposed to be chained, you know, and he says, come on then, do what you're paid to do. And again, that line hits especially hard with stuff that's going on. And I was like, God damn, Philip Kennedy Johnson, you're really batting it, right? So and there's his kind of Batman moment here where he takes them all out, right? And he has the memories of his son, you know, teaching him how to do things, you know, shoot the arrow, slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
He's a big SnowRunner fan.
Is that
the motto of the SnowRunner community?
Gotcha.
Yeah, so and that's the other thing is he kind of just tells Batman earlier in the issue that like what happened to his son. Like he was just in the truck, you know, when he was transporting the silver and they got ambushed by Scarface's men. It just happened to be he'd bring his son on these little like road trips with him, delivering stuff, and that's it. He got shot. That's simple. So so the issue ends. Batman and Robin are going to the fundraiser in costume because he's technically meant to be there as Bruce Wayne. He was supposed to make a speech, and now Penguin's grabbing the microphone. But we also see Quiet Man's approaching, and that's the cliffhanger. Like everyone's converging on this final location, so I'm expecting lots of action and kind of that conflicted. Like, you know, we kind of want to root for the Quiet Man a little bit because like he's been played, his son's dead, he has reasons to be upset. But obviously we're in backcountry, so we'll see how that goes. So and what about the art? I mean, Ossio's obviously been good on the arc. This was him back in form.
It's really solid. The action sequences look great.
Yeah. I like how grotesque his Penguin looks. Grotesque Penguin's always good, you know.
Because Phil's pointing nose. Plus, you know, that big scene between Batman and Robin in the rain, like all of that's like enhanced because the art's so moody, and like you feel the sort of the tense discussion in the rain and all the rest of it. So good stuff. All right, what are we rating Batman and Robin, Matt?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
All right, Connor.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I think it's a really good issue. I just think I didn't enjoy it quite as much as some of the previous issues in the arc.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8.5 for me. I'm not going to quite give it the 9, but I think it's great. I think everything's coalesced and it made me excited for the final issue of the arc. Well, I mean, I assume it's the final issue of the arc. I don't know that for sure, but it feels like it's going to be the final issue. of this story.
I mean, yeah, we're on part 5, so 6 would make sense.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, collection size. So there you go. That's Batman and Robin. Wonder Woman Black and Gold 2026 Special Issue 1. This is the sort of thing that normally I don't even know if we'd try reading, but it was such a quiet week that I figured we might as well have a look at it. Although this comes with a confession on my part, I didn't read all of it. I did nope out at a certain point.
I tried, but
How does this always happen to me?
because you read things even when they're terrible, and then you give them like 8 out of 10s.
No, I don't.
No. If something's
terrible, if I'm giving them an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, if something's terrible, he'll give it a 7. You'll.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's when it's mediocre, you'll give it the 8.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't think this is terrible. I found as I was reading it, I'm like, I'm not interested in this story. So I was like flicking through, going, I'll try the next one, and then I'm like, I read 3 or 4 pages of that, and I'm like, I'm not feeling this either.
I mean, I liked the first story. The first story, the Mitch Gerrard's one, I enjoyed. I thought it was a sweet story about a girl waiting to see Wonder Woman.
I didn't love it.
I also liked the second story because we got Xanthi showing back up, and we got the whole spirit world thing. I don't know how it fits in to what's going on in Wonder Woman, but I like seeing them interact. And then it falls off hardcore for me with the last 2.
Yeah, I didn't even try the third one because I was like, I saw Steve Orlando and went, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I went to skip ahead to the last one, and I looked at it and I looked at the art. I'm like, I'm not feeling this story.
Yeah, the art was an instant turn off for the last one. Yeah, for me.
The Peach Thief, which is the last one, is just more of that young adult one of the little Diana on Themyscira getting into scrambles. Yeah. I thought, this was gonna go into different places, and it doesn't. It's exactly what you think it's gonna be.
So just talk about the first one, which is the one that I read all of. It's this girl who's at the museum and she won a competition, and she's going to meet Wonder Woman. But the story of it is that Wonder Woman has crisis to deal with all day. So she's taking out villains, she's saving people that are in need. And we keep cutting back to the museum where the guy running is like, hey, Wonder Woman's been delayed, sorry. But he keeps being nice to the little girl and saying, I'm sure she'll be here later, and he gives her something to eat. And it's just it's all about this girl's just determination of not quitting and going home. And then the sweet ending is obviously Wonder Woman does finally show up and says, I wanted to meet my new best friend, because that's what the girl's been saying all day, is I'm going to be Wonder Woman's best friend. That's it. It's sweet. It's Mitch Gerrard's art, so it looks fantastic the entire time.
I love the running joke of the docent talking to her, and then he'll say something he wasn't supposed to, and he goes, I probably shouldn't have said that. And the little girl's like, it's okay. Just the kind of innocence of a child.
Yeah.
And then
you mean specific words. It's not like he gives opinions that he shouldn't be sharing. It's just, he says...
No.
He says something sucks, and she's like, I'm not allowed to say that. He's like, me neither. Don't tell my boss.
Yeah. And I just love all of that. And then, her standing there, waiting to meet Diana, I thought was really well done. And there's something about Gerrard's style, like that kind of realistic thing where he just nails the expressions. So when the girl who she picks up one of the words from the docent that she's been talking to, because it's done in the expletives, and he goes, did that painting just, and that's where Diana shows up. And the look of shock on her face is quite endearing.
Yeah, but I love how it's implied that it's maybe the word shit or something like that. It's actually much more harsh than anything else that he said earlier in the issue, which just sort of pays off the joke of it. So no, I had a fun, sweet time with this first story. It was a nice little kind of exactly the sort of story you'd get in like a special or an anniversary issue.
Yeah, and
that was very pleasant. And then I looked at the first page of the next story and went, I don't really want to read this one.
No.
I think it's worth knowing about the special as a whole conceptually is, so we've had a few of these style stories, the black and white and one color. I don't think the yellow / gold is a good choice for these books. I think it's not nice on the eyes to have just that much yellow with the black. It's not a color that works well as an accent color when it's the only one. Whereas like the red usually kind of works quite well.
Blue with Superman.
Yeah,
the red and blue.
Yellow, gold here. I don't know. I just the palette. It's not particularly pleasant for that long.
No, yeah. That said, it matches with the Gerrard style because of the way that he does his own art, right? he inks his own stuff. I think he sometimes colors it. So I'm quite used to seeing that kind of drab, that yellowy kind of vibe to things that he does. You know, think about like Strange Adventures. He would have that kind of over certain parts.
I think, yeah,
so
if it was like certain parts, I think even the Garrett's one, he actually uses the yellow a lot more than anyone else. Like he does like full background yellow, and then the subjects are black and white. Yeah. And like, I don't know, it's not, for me, that's not particularly pleasant on my eyes to read, especially digitally. Maybe it's different in print. But the digital edition, yeah, it just doesn't look great to me. And
so I will say,
the ones, yeah.
I will say too, so it's used in the Orlando to really emphasize things. And I'll talk about it when we get there, since I'm the only one that read it.
I think Skim is probably the one that I think uses it the best, because it's just used for like the lasso, the braces.
It's mostly just black and white, that story, with just the odd little like one thing.
And I think
yellow.
that actually the art in that leans a lot more heavily on being a black and white issue, because you draw and ink that very differently. Whereas I think the Gerard's one actually is just drawn as if it was going to be colored normally, and then it just slaps a big gold filter on it for large portions. And I just don't think it looks that great. I think the pencils are fantastic, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I think the way it uses the color is not particularly effective.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any strong feelings about the gimmick of the black, black, white, and gold kind of coloring scheme. I thought it looked fine in the Garrett story. I just, the second story looked very busy to my eye as soon as I looked at that first page.
It was.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I don't really want to read this. And then the story after that was Orlando, and I've disliked just about everything I've read from Orlando, so I just wasn't even willing to try.
And that one almost gets it, and I feel like just Orlando needs a better editor to be like, okay, rein that in a little bit. Did you read the second story, Connor?
I read the first 3 pages of it and then gave up because the art. It was actually the art was just too busy, and again with the color choices, it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah. So in this one, she goes to Spirit World. She's looking for Steve. She made a paper airplane, and Xanthi's like, "Oh wow, you're really good at that." And so she takes Diana into the Spirit World, and because she's Diana and she has this essence to her, one of the creatures that lives down there, one of the, takes Steve's form and tries to lead her astray, but Diana knows that that's not him, because that's not what would happen in the afterlife, because of their discussions. So she's been fighting this 3-eyed fox creature. We never get a full name or anything for it. And then by the end, Xanthi and Diana talk, and they're like, he's not here, so he must be in another part of the afterlife, but I'll never stop looking. He'll find his way home. And that's the whole aspect of it was there. And like you said, the art is very busy, almost for the sake of being busy. And it doesn't, it uses the gold for the flourishes, but it's almost like, I don't know. There's still too much going on. The gold doesn't add too much to it. So this is when I started to get worried. I got through this one. I was like, oh no, this is going to be one of those. Yeah, I kept on going. Because I said I was going to read it, right? And then we get through the Orlando story, and this boat's heading to this island, but it's in Lake Superior, which is one of the Great Lakes here in the States. And it looks like Themyscira, but something's off. And there's all these group of people in like white cloaks, and one of them is Diana. You can see her tiara poking through. And you come to find out there's this cult there, led by Anton Unreal. And again, this is where I go, oh, I made a mistake already. And essentially he's created his own paradise island where the people in the cult reject reality for unreality. And so now truth has no meaning. So how does Diana come up against someone that doesn't believe in truth? So again, I understand what Orlando's going for, especially right now.
Because there's a nice idea in that.
Yes. I just wish that it was developed better, because it ends up Diana lassoing him with the golden, perfect, because that's what they keep calling it here. It's not just the lasso. And they end up in this power struggle in their minds, in like the the place between the gold and perfect. And it's almost like because he doesn't believe in truth, it doesn't have a full impact on him. And he starts trying to turn it on Diana, but because Diana is, the bastion of truth in this, she ends up, being able to fight him and forcing truth upon him. And then again, there's good ideas in here where she talks about, manipulation is not liberation, subservience is not freedom, choice is not a shackle, and you're no savior, and that's, you're just a man, which it hits there, right? So when he comes out of it, though, he's done such a job on these people that they don't believe it. That there's no way that this man, their leader, would lie. So Diana just kind of leaves and, is like, they haven't drowned yet. These people are still worth saving. But, if you ever need a lifeline, there's none stronger than truth. So again, it almost gets there, but it just misses. And I'm just like, ugh, someone, step in, please. But yeah, that's, I think, where the yellow or the gold does the best, because it's on the lasso, it's on, her emblem and the tiara and her belt and stuff. So
I think even just flicking through, I think the art is clearly the best for this format. I'm not saying it's a better artist than Gerard's necessarily, but I think specifically for this black and white format, I think it's easily the best, where it's big blocky shapes, heavy inks, really just simple silhouettes. I think it conveys the best in terms of just being, really nice to read on its own. And
when they're in the realm and he starts attacking, it gets all dark, right? The gold really pops out because there's a lot of heavy, with the inks and the darkness and whatever. So it really does the job of making it stand out. So it's like Orlando knew this is what it was going to be like. So I feel like he really leaned into that part and didn't fully develop the story instead. But yeah, and then the last one's just a kiddie tale where Diana's with Hippolyta, and it's like peach season for the golden peach on Themyscira that has ties to Persephone, and who's the goddess of the moon, not Persephone, Selene, who's the goddess of the moon, who when Persephone was taken by Hades, she cried about it, and her tears ended up making these golden peaches. Someone is stealing them. Come to find out where Diana does a stakeout, it's Jumpa. Jumpa's going and clearing them out. And so they end up stopping her. And there's no conflict, because by the end, they still end up making the cobbler that someone's supposed to be making. I forget who. But the whole thing is that there's not enough. But they still end up making it. So I don't know what all that was for, right? So, yeah, that was the one where I was just like, I made a mistake, guys. I read all of these, and I could have read something else. But here I am, going through all of them, and yeah. So those are the black and gold.
Your sacrifice has been noted.
It has been.
Yeah, I mean, I won't read it. I only read one of the stories. If you want to read it, Matt, you can.
I mean, it's real hit or miss with the stories. I mean, I think a 6 would be fair, but I feel like that does a disservice to the Gerard's art and even the art in the Orlando story. But it just feels extra superfluous.
It's always tough to rate these anthology style books.
Because I'm not upset having read the Gerard's one. I'm a little upset with the rest of them, though. So, but that Gerard's one was good. So,
yeah. All right. Cool. Well, we do the monthly vote on Patreon now, where the patrons get to vote between 3 things. Either something that's coming up that's an issue 1, or maybe something from last month that we can go back and do. And the winner for this, they didn't pick Night Fight again, so we didn't have to read that, but they did pick Red Hood versus Joker, one of the Fight Month issues. So, yeah, this is what Joshua Williamson. Is it Joshua Williamson? Yeah, Snyder and Williamson.
And Snyder.
Yeah, with Dustin Wen, Kerman Kalman-Killy. Yeah, so I mean, where do we start here? It's the 3 rounds again. We've got different forms being picked for each round. we have a lot of Jason Todd talking about how, oh, whenever Batman and the Bat family look at me, they don't see me, they see him, because I'm his creation. I'm the one who got killed by the Joker. That's all I am. And you know what? Writers of DC Comics, you're right. That is all I see when I look at Jason Todd, because that's all you ever bring up when you would talk about Jason Todd, is that he was the one that was killed by the Joker. Dear.
Yeah. Jason's got to let this go, man.
Joe, I will say the one little bit of joy I had reading this book is that because I'd already read KO3, I knew that Joker was going to win. So I had that little bit of this joy in my heart as I was reading this, knowing you're going to lose, Jason. And I'm happy. I'm rooting for the Joker against you. That's where we are in life. So, yeah. Joker wins round 1, though, just for the record.
He does? I thought... no, Jason does. Jason stabs him. Oh no, he runs away.
That's not the end.
That's right.
The end of round 1 is when he, when Jason gets kicked into the vat of Joker chemicals.
That's right.
And that's how he dies. That's right.
Oh boy.
Because he tries to beat Joker. He's got like a gun, and he's like, oh, Batman developed a cure for years. He can never find one though. So I've got what I call my Joker cure, which is basically just the same chemicals that turn Joker into Joker, but like turned up to 11. So we get like a sort of monstrous Joker that's got several mouths.
I don't know. I feel a shotgun blast is the cure to Joker. I don't know. I feel like he's still immortal, you know? As far as we know. He's not absolute Joker, who's a literal demon. All right? Like so I don't know. I will commend this on the art switches though, because when when stuff happens, it looks really good. Like it feels like one of those, Robin books.
It's when we
he was doing.
Yeah, when we change to a new round, we change to a new artist, and that feels natural enough. It doesn't feel like a jarring thing. Of course, though, round 2, it's like choose your forms. It's like Jason picks his child, Jason Todd Robin. Like, why would he pick that? I don't understand why he would pick that.
Because Pete, we gotta run back Death in the Family.
Yes.
And we gotta do the same exact panels by ComiXology here, with even down to the heavy inks in the posturing. Yeah,
they're in the same room. The same bomb's going to go off, and we get this fight. But of course, this is the round that Jason has to win. So, Jason says, "Oh, back in this fight originally, I held back because I couldn't kill Joker because that would disappoint Batman, and I would never have disappointed Batman back then. But now I don't give a shit what Batman thinks." And he grabs the crowbar and beats the shit out of Joker with it. And after the explosion, we get the same creation of Batman holding Robin's body, but this time it's Robin holding Joker's body. And Robin laughs maniacally next to the dead Joker as it says KO, and that's the end of round 2.
I do like the idea that, I don't know if this is there. This is how I took it originally, that Joker shot the dynamite instead of letting it click down to, from 3.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm looking at the art and it looks like Jason knocked his hand loose, away, and it was like a stray bullet. But I kind of like the idea that Joker was like, "No, I'm just going to blow us both up."
Yeah, well, because I was thinking, is that going to be the end of this? Is that technically they both die in round 2, but because Joker won round 1, that means Joker wins overall. Like they're going to do a cool, right. And they kind of do a double death thing when we get to the third round, and Joker becomes classic Red Hood, and Red Hood himself is Jason. He's what is he? What era Red Hood is this we're looking at? Jason Todd?
No, This almost looks like so he's got the bat symbol on the red version, so it almost looks like the most modern Red Hood.
Is it? I thought the first one was the most modern. Maybe I'm wrong, but regardless.
Because he's got the white hair in the front, right? And all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But I will say him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Joker's got an axe. He's got the Red Hood big dome on and all that, and they have a fight in a cemetery. The whole thing here is that Jason kind of wins, right? But he wins to the point where he's also dying, so he kind of crawls off and dies next to a tree, going, "I don't care if I die too, because Joker died first." But then Joker wins because Joker's got a pacemaker type thing that sort of reignites his heart, and then Joker's sort of lying in the bottom of the grave laughing, and then it says KO, and it's like, so Jason like thought he won and then dies next to the tree, but then Joker gets resuscitated, so he's won. And I'm like, okay, all right, there you go, Joker wins.
There's a part of there that I did like, and that was how it explains that Jason took the name Red Hood not from just Joker, but from the concept that in the neighborhood he grew up in, Gotham, the Red Hood was like a boogeyman for people, and that's what he wanted to become, was like the boogeyman of Gotham. So it wasn't that he took it from Joker, he took it from this thing. And
he said it was also like a scapegoat. I did like that as well. Like, you know, like if you did something bad, you'd blame it on, like Red Hood did it. It wasn't me that did it. Red Hood did it. It was this sort of running thing in his neighborhood. Yeah. Which, okay.
So I did like that. So it gives it a little bit more meaning and kind of breaks from the whole, you know, Red Hood or Jason Todd Joker type thing. But yeah, I really didn't like that ending. I'd rather just had Joker kill him again instead of the whole fake out. Like, you know, just like no matter what he does, Jason Todd is destined to die at the Joker's hands. I almost would have loved that kind of dark, you know, nihilism. I
mean, I was hoping for 2-0, to be honest, Matt.
Right?
But, you know, they didn't give me that, so that's fine.
I can't believe you were cheering for the Joker, man.
In this case, I guess Jason Todd, I'll cheer for the Joker. No question.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of like at least a little bit of the narration when the fight starts happening in round one. Jason says, "Oh, Joker's actually a really tough person to fight because he fights in a way that no one else does because he doesn't care if he wins or loses. He just cares about having fun when he's fighting. So that's actually quite difficult for a trained fighter to combat because it makes him very unpredictable. There's no rhyme or reason to it in the same way. I was like, okay, that's an okay little detail. I don't hate that. So fair enough. But
for sure.
The actual, you know, overall issue, Jason being like, oh, I'm such a product of Batman and a product of Joker. They're the two things that created what Red Hood is, because Batman trained him to be Robin, and then Joker, you know, killed him and turned him into this. And it's like, okay, you know, I feel like that's all we ever do with Jason is go over how he became Red Hood.
It's very funny that the writers that choose to not tell that story ends up being the Jason stories that we really like, right? So like the what was the book where he was with the undead? Was that the zombie one?
Oh, it was Z Nation?
Task Force Z?
Task Force Z, that was it, yeah.
Yeah. Like, where he was getting past that and he was becoming his own person. We're like, this version of Jason's fun to read. I like it. You know? And then they just run this back again and we're just like, we get it, man. You're obsessed with him. So
yeah, it's kind of like, you know how we always joke about, we always go back to the alleyway and the pearls for Batman. It's almost like that, except turned up to 1,000,000, because like it's all Jason has, it feels like, whereas Batman does have a lot of other stuff. It just sometimes they go back to that origin thing a bit too often. But with Jason, it's like, oh, he's pissy about how Batman didn't kill Joker for him after what Joker did. Sometimes it feels like we're over that, but we regress back to it, and it's just kind of tiring. So
sure.
You know, they are so right. I mean, I didn't really have anything to say about the interlude at the end with you know,
so
Booster,
stupid.
Darkseid. So he gets Doomsday's like time trapper's head up against the window and says, "Look at what's happened to Earth. It's now new apocalypse." And then we get a big splash page of Earth on fire, and it's like, okay, sure.
Cool. It's all getting undone in a month.
Yeah, none of this is going to matter. So I don't give a shit.
Still explaining the fight months, and then I to Pete the books he wasn't reading, and I was like, oh yeah, and then Gorilla Grodd and him fight, and then I forget what the thing was, but it was very Zadie. Yeah, you know, this one wasn't nearly as fun as any of that. So
so can't say I feel much for this. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just very typical of any time you're doing Joker and Red Hood stories for the most part. So can't say, plus combined
it is what I thought it was.
Yeah, and then, you know, obviously combine that with just it's one of these tie-ins, and I was already sick of these tie-ins, so you know, art's good.
Pete,
I guess.
It bad that is it bad that I kind of wish that Night Fight had won, because at least the conversation wouldn't have been retried. You know, us going over.
I hated issue 1
Joker
and 2
Jason things.
Night Fight, but I suppose I can't deny that it was like crazy in a way that was more
You
car
read
crash.
issue 2?
Yeah, it won a vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won a vote, and it was about Jason Todd taking over as Batman.
Yeah, I know after issue 1. I read issue 1. I was like, oh, that was terrible.
Oh yeah, no, both were terrible. Like it was a bad issue.
Yeah.
Some of the art was really good in the back half of issue 2. I mean, I'll at least say that. Like, but that's about it. But it was just bunch of The end
Jason
of issue 2,
Todd was also Clayface, or no, Batman was also Clayface.
Yeah. So the whole issue is like of issue 2 of Night Fight is that Jason Todd in this world is convinced that this isn't Batman. This is Clayface who thinks he's Batman. And then at the end of the issue, Batman says, "Okay, you want to make me think I'm Clayface? Sure, I'm Clayface," and he turns out to Clayface. And it's like, okay.
Huh?
That's exactly the reaction.
Yep.
Matt, what are you giving Joker versus Red Hood issue on?
I'm gonna use 6.5.
I'm going with a 4.
I did that for Connor.
Of course you did. You definitely would have given it a lower score if I wasn't here.
Every month on the show, you can make me read a book of your choosing at one of the higher tiers. I'm looking at Gideon Falls issue 9 today. So obviously Jeff Lemire continues here, and the big bombshell from last issue, which is that Norton, the photograph of Norton, and they're like, who the hell is this? Combined with the fact that the city of Gideon, well, they revealed that the city's in Gideon Falls, but this town's also Gideon Falls, and I assumed that the town must take place before the city, but now there's a photograph of Norton in the little rural town Gideon Falls, where I'm like, how can this possibly be the future? Are we in 2 different dimensions? I don't know. Have you read this before, Connor?
I have. I believe I have right here the deluxe.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, keep your mouth shut. No spoilies.
I will say these deluxe editions are very nice. I do recommend them.
It does look very nice. Yes, it's a very pretty book, and the art's obviously excellent here.
You get 16 issues in the first one, so I'm assuming it's roughly that in the second one as well. It's there. I just can't bother checking.
Oh sure, yeah. Yeah, so that's what they're debating at the start of this issue. The priest and Clara the sheriff are like, do we know who this guy is? Do we get any idea? And what's funny is one of the first things I thought when they kind of talked about how Norton's past is kind of mysterious and he just showed up one day, one of the first thoughts I had was, oh, this is our missing brother somehow. Like, I know he's got a different name. I know that not all the details line up, but I do like that. Clearly, it was not Waid that I had that thought, because even she has that thought where when she shows the photograph to her father later, she's like, hey, could this be Daniel? Could this somehow be him? But the other thing here that's really wild is that separate from this photograph, the priest does have the name. He doesn't know this is who the guy in the photograph is, but he does mention Norton Sinclair. And when he brings that up to Clara's father, who's the conspiracy theorist who has all this history of the barn and the town all kind of mapped out on his walls, he's like, oh, I know who that is. He gets a really stern face. He's the first murderer of Gideon Falls, and the day where he killed someone is the first time the Black Barn was ever seen. And at this point, I'm like, what the hell is the timeline of this story? Because like all these things are all like, don't get me wrong, this idea that Norton, like, it feels like there's some kind of time travel something going on at the very least, possibly alternate dimensions. Who's to say? But regardless, like all this stuff of like them talking about who Norton is in the town when we've been following Norton's story in the city and it's such a separate thing is really exciting at this point. We also have a little bit more backstory about the priest, who reveals that he had an affair with someone who went to his church about a decade ago, and this was a married woman who ended up killing herself once the husband found out. So he has this guilt from that he's still dealing with. It might even explain why he never like stays in one town for too long. Maybe he's too worried that he's going to get attached to someone and something bad will happen yet again. So yeah, we're filling out more of that background stuff here. And the art here is him looking off into the distance as they're driving is all very good. And the use of red is as prominent as ever, where there's one panel of this woman and it's just bathed in red. This idea that the red, like up until now, I've been kind of like the red obviously emphasizes things, but it's mostly usually stuff to do with the barn. Anything like supernatural, anything related to the barn is usually got some red in it. But clearly here, any sort of dark thoughts or like bad memories also seem to be bathed in red. It could just be that red's just the color of accents more than anything else, but it does feel like such a prominent color throughout this book because everything else is so muted. Meanwhile, and I say that as if they're taking place concurrently, which I don't think they are necessarily, but Dr. Zhu has got like a syringe ready, and she's like sneaking into the hospital that Norton's been like put in, and she's going to make a big great escape. She ends up using it on the nurse who tries to stop her from getting in, who's like, I'll have to call security, and she's like, oh, so you've not called them already, that's good news, and then sticks her with the needle, which I know Connor loves. Connor loves syringes.
Oh, yeah. My favourite.
Yeah. I want to get like a comically big syringe that I can hold up and wave at him on camera. I just think it'd be funny. Feels like a weird thing to order.
You. Yeah.
It's like, why do you want a comically big syringe? Because I want it to be like the Freddy Krueger to Connor's psyche. That's what I want.
He's your Nancy.
Yeah. Oh dear. So she finds him. Although there's a little comedy bit here though, where she goes to the wrong door first, and there's just a crazy guy who's like, "Is that you, Mum?" And she's like, "Sorry," and just shuts the door. And I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, so she gets him out of there, and he's in the straitjacket, and it's just all very casual to get out of the building. But once they do get out, like they go to the location where his orphanage was, and it's not like just like a diner or a coffee shop, but they go there because he wants to try and find the key. He believes the key that he's looking for will be in the basement of this place. So there's even like a funny, this is the thing, is as serious and as foreboding as the tone in this book is, there's little moments of humor like sprinkled in there. For example, when he's like, hey, can I use your restroom? Because just as an excuse to get into the back of the building, the guy's like, oh, the restroom's only for customers. So he's like, oh, I'll have like a double thing latte or whatever. And like Dr. Zhu just sort of looks at him like, who are you? Like the idea that this is like goes against the character she knows. Like she can't imagine him ordering a fancy coffee. Just cracked me up. The stuff back in town where they go to the like Clara's dad to like get maybe some fresh eyes on this photograph, and he's like, he has no idea who it is. As much as he reacts to the name Norton Sinclair later, he has no idea who the photograph is. The main thing that happens here, though, otherwise, is that once again, Clara and her dad have a fight. It especially bubbles up here because he brings up her mother, so she just gets pissed, and she gets annoyed at the priest again when the priest kind of sides with him. Not even like taking his side, but more just like, hey, let's all calm down. Maybe there's some truth to this barn stuff because we've all seen some weird stuff we can't explain. Which she even admits, but she still gets pissed and storms out. And she's like, oh, maybe it was a mistake including either of you in this, and leaves. So if I have like a small critique, it's maybe that like that is a little bit repetitive at this point, that she keeps getting pissed at her dad anytime he brings up the barn stuff. Because at this point, it's like, you've literally seen barn stuff at this point. You know, you're inside all that. You've bore witness to this supernatural bollocks. So at this point, maybe we could not just completely yell and leave every time it's brought up by your father. But, you know, it's a minor quibble because it still at least tracks with her character. Like, it still makes sense. Like, I get why she's doing it. But she storms off saying that she's going to do some real police work, and that's where that leaves that. So as they then talk about Norton, and the dad's like, hey, no, Norton's the first serial killer, or the first person who ever killed someone. And there was a scene that alluded to that last issue, and it looked like the olden times. It looked like, you know, turn of the century, or even maybe before that, in Gideon Falls, which really was throwing wrenches into my timeline, like, theories of this whole thing. So the idea that's when the Black Barn started is very interesting. But obviously this idea of the voice, the creepy smiling man that's talking to Norton, has been a thing throughout all of his story, and it seems like that's who wants him to like build the barn and find the key. Is this technically set before all this town stuff? It might be, at least from Norton's perspective. It's hard to say. But yeah, the end of the issue is him finding the key and saying that, hey, we've got the key, we've got the door, and that's where it leaves off. So it's getting like almost impossible to theorize things at this point. Like, it's getting such a tangled web of weird information that's hard to parse. But it is fun to read. It's exciting seeing like one side of the story be aware of the other side and kind of like have their own theories on it. You know, that I think the reveals in this book that have been so fascinating is the reveal that the city they're in is also Gideon Falls somehow, and then the reveal that Norton's photograph is like there in the town. Both those elements have been like total like showstopper moments of like, holy shit, what does that mean? Trying to untangle that is still kind of tough, but like it's very engrossing the entire time, and even the weird friendship between Doctor Zoo and Norton's been kind of interesting, and kind of endearing in places. So, and then the priest kind of opening up, and it feels like he's got stuff to be guilty about that he wants to try and redeem himself for. That's also pretty interesting. And then the art throughout is just, gorgeous. Again, really muted colors with those strong reds every so often. Really good performances on the faces, the reactions of the characters, all great stuff. So it's a 9 out of 10. It's hard to really fault it much, to be honest. It's not the best issue of the book, but it's like continuing everything very, very well. So there you go. That is my thoughts on issue 9 of Gideon Falls. So I'll be back with that for a little bit. I think Tyler said that when I get halfway through this, he's going to switch it up so that I'm doing one of this and then one of another book each month. But for now, we're double reading this one.
Yeah.
So
you're charging through.
Yeah. We're going to get there fairly quickly. So that is that. So that'll bring us to the final part of the show where we pick our favorite stuff of the week, favorite panel/moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and of course top 5 books. And I think most of us only read 4 or 5 books this week, so it's going to be a tight top 5, but we'll see how that goes. So we'll start off with panel/moment of the week. Matt, what do you have?
All right, so Green Lantern Corps had the kaiju Larfleeze fighting the T-Rex. That was pretty cool. And KO had Barda and Diana doing the super cool, what was that called? Like a sonic boom kind of thing.
It's basically whenever like Captain America says Thor hit my shield. It's basically that moment.
It was really cool, but it was Barda hitting the bracers, right? It was super cool. However, that page by Fico Ossio of the Quiet Man calling out the biggest sinners of the men in uniform really hit home this week. So that's going to be mine. Yeah.
All right, Connor.
I'm probably also going to go with from Batman and Robin, just a bit more cliche with the good art though. Just that panel at the bottom when Damien and Bruce are talking, and it's the cowl, but he's all in shadow. You just see the eyes, none of his face expression.
Yeah, I think I'm going with that same moment. Although the art's great, but I'm maybe more just going from that sequence of like the argument that Robin makes and calling out Batman. I really like the narrative and character that comes from that. I think that's a really good moment. So that's what I'm picking. So and then cover of the week. I'll jump in here. I have, I think there's a decent Samney variant for Action, which is quite nice, which is cool. There's a fun video game character select Dan Mora variant for KO, which is a fun idea. There's also the wrestling one with Will Ospreay on the cover, which gave me a chuckle at the very least. But
who does he have? Who's he have up for Stormbreaker?
It's Firestorm. I know. So,
even he knows.
Yeah, he's making jokes. My pick, though, is going to be the variant for Batman and Robin by Martin Simons, which is just a really sort of haunting-looking, dark, oil painting-looking Batman holding Scarface. Just really good art. I just really like how it looks. It's really moody. So that's my pick. Matt, what's your cover of the week?
All right, so you mentioned the KO ones, but there's also a Carla Cohen variant that's Zatanna, with fire type cards. Yeah, it looks really, really good. And then there's also a Green Lantern Corps variant with Kilowog punching through some violet energy, which is weird because we haven't had much of the Violet Corps now that I think about it. But I think it's a really cool. The green and the violet, that hot pink fuchsia look really good together. But mine's gonna be one Pete already mentioned, and it's the Somni cover for Action Comics. Yeah. It just looks great, and it matches the art style a bit too. So yeah,
Connor.
I'll give a shout out to the KO cover by Sanford Green. It's the Dark Side one.
I
think that's a cool, really nice cover.
There's a lot of covers for that one, so I didn't look at them all too closely.
I picked like artists that I was familiar with and just kind of flicked through them. That one, but I am going with the Simmons cover for Batman and Robin. Man, his work's just so good in everything. So yeah,
that's great stuff. Art of the week, Connor, you start us off.
It's probably Batman and Robin, I think. I think KO does a good showing as well, though. It's definitely between those two, but I think I'll give it to Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's a rougher week this week. I feel like last week the books were mostly high quality and had a lot of good art to pick from. This week feels a bit more kind of like, it's really just a couple of choices. Like I actually think the art and action was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid as well. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably picking Batman and Robin as well with Ossio. What about you, Matt?
What if I say Green Lantern Corps?
You'd be wild and psychotic.
Yeah, I mean that's a lie. But yeah, no, it's Batman and Robin. Fico Ossio. It matches the tone of the story so well, and the stuff that it was doing with the shading with like Batman on that page and the Quiet Man looking all beat up, but still having the awesome action scene. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, top 5 books then, Matt. Off you go.
All right. Number 1's gonna be Batman and Robin. 2 is gonna be Action Comics. 3 is gonna be KO. 4 is Green Lantern Corps, and 5 is Wonder Woman Black and Gold.
Connor?
I think my top 2 are pretty close together. I'll probably give the edge to Action Comics and then Batman and Robin. And then there's a significant drop off to KO and then Green Lantern Corps. And then I guess the small portions of the Wonder Woman special I read defaults into last, but it doesn't really feel fair.
Yeah. And my number 1's Batman and Robin. 2 is Action Comics. 3 is Green Lantern Corps. 4 is KO. And again, but like Wonder Woman Black and Gold special feels like a weird one to rank for me because I only read one story out of it. So, yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it's a weird week because there was a couple of books that were on this week that ended last month, and that's why partially this is such a quiet week, relatively speaking. So. But yeah, okay, let's have a look and see what's coming next week from DC Comics, which is also kind of a quiet week for us, although partly that's because we've dropped a couple of books that are out. But we have Nightwing 134, we have Batman Superman World's Finest 47, Titans 31, Wonder Woman 29, DC KO Green Lantern Galactic Slam issue 1, Superman Unlimited issue 9, Catwoman 83, and then there's some reprints and facsimiles. But yeah, so it's quite a week overall, even not just for us, but the fact that there's a couple that, World's Finest, we've jettisoned into the sun, so that's not on the to-do list.
Even if you read everything that they put out, not counting like reprints, there's still only 7 books. That would still not be a particularly busy week anyway.
Yeah,
no.
So it's a good chance
that Galactic Slam, that's the return of Omega Bam Man, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That character's so dumb, I love it.
So yeah, we'll see you for that next week. Me and Matt will tackle that next Green Arrow issue next week, I'm sure, and I'll do a Patreon book or 2. But yeah, quite a week. But the bigger thing, of course, is that before next week, the annual episode will exist. The 2025 annual, where we pick our favorite stuff of the year, and we'll debate that, and we'll also share the results of the voting that you guys have done. Again, that form is out right now. By the time this episode goes out, you won't have too much time left, but it's been there for a good week plus now. So make sure you go vote if you want to get your votes counted for that. But that is the show, everyone. That is Comics from the Multiverse. You can, of course, let us know what you thought of this week's books in the comments, subscribe, all that stuff. But most importantly, you can support everything, support the show, and help keep it coming over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV or via YouTube membership. Either is great. Thanks to everyone who already does. But that is the show. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.